Now that we have a working back end, let's make a front end. Now, we've done this in class. We at least got started on it, and I think I had tasked you to see if you could get it working. But let's just assume that you were absent that day, and let's start fresh. So I'm going to click New. I'm going to make this a new project, and I think I'll just call it Back End Tutorial. Makes it sound like we're working on cars. And I'm going to change this to a 2D project because it'll just make life a little bit easier. Since all we're putting in this is UI elements, that will make things just a little bit easier for us. You could choose either one of these, it wouldn't matter, but I think that's just going to make it a little bit simpler. I'll click Create Project, and it will build that for me. And I'll just go ahead and save my scene. Just get it out of the way. I'll just call it main. Doesn't really matter what you call it. And we're going to be using UI elements in this. So let's go ahead and set up our basic UI element. And I like just right-clicking and saying UI and then picking something that I'm going to use instead of just setting up the event system. So I'm going to start with some text because I know I'm going to use some text. And there it is, and it'll create the canvas and the event system along with your text. And with text selected, I can press F on my keyboard and it will show me where that is. And I'm going to zoom out and sort of center this up so I have my work area set. And of course, this is going to change depending on what you're doing. We'll try to keep it like this because the focus of this lesson, of course, is just to make a login screen. All right, I realize that probably wasn't the best thing I could have picked. Let's pick a panel is what I should have picked. So panels are nice. They are designed to be containers for your UI elements. So I'll go ahead and pick that. And now I'll take text and I'll put it inside the panel. And now we've got text inside the panel. So we'll center it up here at the top, and I'll go ahead and just make this the title. I'll have it say login. And I'll change the color, lighten it up a little bit, center it both ways, maybe make it a little bigger. And if you take it too big, it disappears from view until you take it back down to something that it can handle, or you can resize your text element until it appears. Incidentally, it should have put you into this tool here automatically. If you're not in that, then that's the one you want. That lets you manipulate sprites and two-dimensional objects very simply. Okay, and then I don't know about this font. Maybe I have a better font. So let me see what I have. I'm on Windows 10, and that makes it pretty easy. I can just ask Cortana where my fonts are, and she will show me. So we can pick a font from here, anything you like. And I've got some interesting ones here. Actually, I'm working on a sci-fi game right now, and so I have this one, and it's the first one in here, so why don't we just use that one? 6809 charge in regular. If you want to use this font, you can find it if you search for it. 6809 charge in font. And there it is. And I don't have permission to distribute it, so I'm not going to, but this is where you can get it. This is where I got it. So go grab that, or whatever font you like. You don't have to use this one. To use a different font, this should hopefully be reviewed. We're just going to drag it and drop it into our project. There we go. And with the font in here in Assets, I can now drag this to font right here. And now I've got a more interesting looking font. Maybe we'll go with a nice scary green color. And there's our login title. All right, so I'll change the name of this. And now I need my login elements. So I need another text. Now, probably the easiest thing to do is just duplicate. It's Control D. I've got my text selected. I'll hit Control D, and now I've got a duplicate. I just need to change this up a little bit, right? So I want the centering to be right justified, and we don't want it to be 48 probably. It's probably more like 18. And I can shrink my box down a little bit like that. And I think I'll make it a little bit bigger just so it'll show up on the recording. I'll set it to 25 and just shrink things up a little bit. And I'll move this over here. And probably I don't want it to say login. I probably really want it to say email. And then I'll duplicate that. And that just is a lot faster than dragging out new ones and then setting them up the same way every time, because usually your settings are at least going to be close. So we'll put password here. And I need to make this a little bigger. There we go. And now I need some text objects now, or some text input fields. Now before I do that, I really should rename these. And I'm going to separate them a little bit. So login title should really be email. And I like using the old school Visual Basic Microsoft convention. So LBL is a label, which is basically text editor, or text that can't be edited. But you can use whatever naming convention floats your boat. I'll say LBL password. And by that same logic, I probably should have called this LBL login title. We used to do it that way because when we're over in code, we don't usually have the design and code open at the same time, and that's certainly the case in Unity. We would like to be able to tell what kind of thing it is that we're dealing with, and it's just sort of a nice reminder that this is going to be a label. All right, so that's good, and apparently this one didn't take. Make sure you press enter. And now let's put in our text input fields. So that's UI text input, or excuse me, just input field. There we go. And I'll set that up right next to it. Stretch it out maybe a little bit. And let's rename that to txt email. And we'll duplicate it. Move it down a little bit. Whoops. Make sure this is a problem with this stuff, that you're duplicating the right thing. I didn't duplicate the right thing. So I need to do Control Z. All it did was it duplicated the text email part. So I actually had the wrong thing selected. So that says txt email. I should have picked input field and changed that to txt email. Okay. And now this is going to get confused, so let's just change this back to what it was, which was text. Okay, so the thing to know about these components is that they are made up of other components. So the input field consists of a placeholder and something you can type text into. So the placeholder is just something that appears over it, and you can see it here. It says enter text. You can put something in here like enter your email address, and that's fine. And now we can duplicate this. So make sure you have the right thing clicked. Make sure you have the top one clicked. Sometimes it helps to close it up. Now we're good. So now we've duplicated the whole thing, and we can drag it down. The other thing that you can get stuck on is if it's open, it's possible that you have clicked this and you think you're going to move the whole thing, and you're not. You're actually just moving the text box. So let's put that back where it was. There we go. All right. This is going to be txt password. There we go. And our placeholder text will be enter your password. And now we just need a button. So let's add a button. Okay, there we go. There's our button. We'll just call it login. Sorry, no. That's not the text, that's the name. So btn login. And the text will change to login. This is another one that's made up of subcomponents. So text will set the text. Change that to login. And we'll go ahead and use our same font so that it matches. Nice green, and then maybe we'll make the color on the button a little darker. And then the highlight color slightly lighter. And then the pressed color like black, or darker than what we set the normal color at least. And we're not going to disable it, so I'm not going to worry about that one. Okay. Now would be a good time to save. Let's see what we've got so far. All right, so this is essentially it. I can tear this off and make it a little bigger. And I should be able to type something in here and something in here. Now, it's not a proper password field, and we're probably not going to spend the time to make it into one. I'm not aware of an option that you can click over there. I'll go study it here in a second, but I've never seen it over there before where you can substitute dots or asterisks. Maybe we'll figure that out as a side project, but right now this is all about getting the back end to work rather than focusing on UI aspects. So we're just going to get this working, and then if you want to try to figure out how to get those to be dots or stars or something else, then maybe we'll throw that out there as a bonus project. And we have our button, which seems to work. It isn't wired up to anything yet, but there it is. All right, that looks pretty good. So I'll move this back. Actually, I think I'm just going to dock it up here for now. And that's our basic login form.